This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. The Republican Party is the party of chaos. And we're learning that it's not just chaos for the country or for the opposing party, the Democratic Party. It is chaos for themselves. They have become so radicalized that chaos is the order of the day. Up is down, right is wrong, good is evil. Pick your juxtapositional statement and stick with it. That's the Republican Party. And right now, the order of the day being chaos is coming home to roost for them. There is a vocal minority of Republicans that are right now putting the speakership for Kevin McCarthy in jeopardy. And I've got the list here. We'll go through it. It is the typical that you would expect. The characters you would expect to be at the heart of this, minus a few, minus some who made some deals like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is desperate to get back onto committees. Matt Gaetz of Florida, ringleader of this circus. Of course, Matt Gaetz, the credibly accused child trafficking monster. Andy Biggs, who pushed feverishly to overturn the 2020 election. Paul Gosar, another absolute white nationalist wingnut, dangerous individual in Arizona. Andrew Clyde, the dum-dum who said that the insurrection was just like a normal tourist visit. These are the types who are now threatening the speakership for an already radical member of the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy. Andy Harris of Maryland, who said about the insurrection that there was no indication that this was a truly violent protest. That's a quote from Andy Harris of Maryland. Matt Rosendale of Montana, a generic radical Republican. He looks like a thumb with ears attached to it. Ralph Norman of South Carolina, you will famously, he is known for having texted Mark Meadows, pushing Donald Trump to declare martial law, spelled it wrong, but martial law. Another dum-dum who doesn't know his native tongue, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Bob Good of Virginia, who likens himself a biblical conservative, quote unquote, and was like the chancellor at Liberty University, a real gem. Chip Roy of Texas, another radical, used to be Ted Cruz's chief of staff. Scott Perry of Pennsylvania, another insurrectionist idiot. This one tried to get Jeffrey Clark appointed Attorney General. Jeffrey Clark, the conspiracy theorist who thought that thermostats were changing votes last election. Dan Bishop of North Carolina, a bigot, the author of their anti-trans bathroom bill. And then Anna Paulina Luna from Florida, newly elected. Eli Crane, radical dipshit from Arizona. And Andy Ogles of Tennessee. All three of those are newly elected, congresspeople elect, if you will. And this Sunday, a letter was obtained by The Hill. I'll just read this headline. House conservatives say McCarthy's efforts to address demands insufficient ahead of speaker election. In a Sunday letter obtained by The Hill, Representative Scott Perry of Pennsylvania and Chip Roy of Texas led 7 other hardline Republican House members and members-elect in calling McCarthy's responses to their pre-election demands insufficient. And this is the quote from the letter that I really want to drill down on because it is, it's an indictment of just how radical this segment of an already radical party is. Quote, "The Times call for a radical departure from the status quo." No shocker that they're actually literally using the word radical in their demand for Kevin McCarthy to not be speaker or to meet their radical demands. Again, the Times call for a radical departure from the status quo, not a continuation of past and ongoing Republican failures, they wrote. For someone with a 14-year presence in senior House Republican leadership, Mr. McCarthy bears squarely the burden to correct the dysfunction he now explicitly admits across that long tenure. The Republican Party is a radical entity in world politics. I'll say it again, and I will continue to say it. The Republican Party is the largest organized white supremacist organization on the planet. It just is. They forward policies that are rooted in white supremacy. They speak at white nationalist, neo-Nazi conferences. They make excuses for their members who get outed as open white supremacists. It's terrible. And there's a faction within the Republican Party, this 9 members, 14 members, 15, 16 members, even Fox News is putting them up on screen as people who are so radical that they're going to jeopardize McCarthy's speakership. It's not going to go anywhere. I believe that McCarthy will end up being speaker, but they're going to put certain conditions in there, like an easier emergency pull cord to remove him from speaker if indeed he steps out of line and displeases them in any way. Dan Crenshaw, another radical goof who comparatively seems normal. He is not. He was on with Fox and Friends whining about the chaos and making some strange accusation, tongue-in-cheek, I believe, that Democrats are paying these radicals to cause the chaos. Watch this moment from Fox and Friends.
Republicans have been waiting years for this opportunity to take over the House. And so when the rest of the country looks at how Republicans are handling day one, they can't unite, they can't come together. It's day one and they can't agree already.
Yeah, it's a shame. It makes us look foolish. If I didn't know any better, it's like the Democrats paid these people off. Hey, let's pay them off. Let's make it look like the Republicans can't govern and don't deserve any gavels whatsoever. That's what it makes it look like. Again, their demands are foolish. Their demands are inside baseball procedural issues. That's what they are. Their demands are things that the average American doesn't care about at all. The average American cares about defunding 87,000 IRS agents. That's actually what's going to be on the floor today if McCarthy gets 218, because then we can actually start doing business. That's the first bill we're going to vote on. You know what's going to be right up after that? It's going to be bills on border security. It's going to be bills on making our economy more resilient and reducing inflation. It's going to be the things that people actually care about. The things that they want, the things that they're demanding to offer their votes to McCarthy are things that nobody cares about.
Right.
And look, nobody calls my office and says, you have to, this is my biggest priority. You've got to get rid of Kevin McCarthy. Nobody. We had 0 calls about this. There's 0 emails about this.
Right.
So I don't know where this group is getting this idea that this is important to the American people or important to the conservative movement. It is simply not. They don't even have ideological disagreements with Kevin McCarthy. This is about petty personal issues that they have or petty attempts to gain notoriety. And it's unbelievably frustrating, and they should be held accountable for it by the American people.
So they're not going to vote for him on the first ballot. They're going to vote for Andy Biggs. So the big question is, Congressman, who are you hearing these renegade Republicans want to nominate, essentially, as Speaker? Who's their person?
They don't have one.
There's
That's
no
a great
plan.
question. There's no plan.
Right.
That's a great question. They keep acting like, they keep acting like they've got somebody in the wings.
You know you're in bad shape when Dan Crenshaw seems like the reasonable voice. Look, we're going to see how this goes, but we're in for a wild ride of investigation after investigation, investigation, Benghazi-style nonsense that leads nowhere because they have no agenda. They have no policy prescriptions to make your life better. All they want to do is be in power so they can own the libs. That's their objective. What do you think about all of this? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. You can email me daily at dollemore.com. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore just about everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And if I do something for you that you appreciate, if I bring you value on a day-to-day basis, please consider supporting and helping produce what I do right here. You can click the join button, depending on your platform. I don't know what side it's on, but you can click the join button below, become a channel member for $1.99 a month, $2 a month, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both those are great ways to help support what I do on an ongoing basis. I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. Happy to be back. Happy New Year. It's going to be a wild ride. No rest. Big year. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.